Okay, thank y'all for coming. I know there's just a few of y'all here, but hopefully we'll have a few more come in this evening. My name is Matt Miranda. I'm the 4-H agent in Guadalupe County. This is, like I said, we're recording this for the internet as well, so I'll be looking at the camera and everything, and we'll try this out for future programs as well. That way, if people from Shirt Cibolo can't make it over here, y'all don't have to drive 45 minutes across the county to watch an hour-long presentation. But what I really wanted to do with this today was kind of do an overview of what 4-H is. We got more people?
They just pulled in.
Okay, cool, dude. Come on in. Hello. That's the good thing about videos, they can be edited.
There you go.
And I got that software too. I was telling them we're recording the video where we can put it on YouTube, and if I can't edit it all the way, then you know what? It goes on just like this, and I don't have a problem. But what I wanted to do, like I said, is kind of give an overview of what 4-H is. When I go and talk about 4-H to 4-H clubs or new organizations or schools, things like that, we use a certain lingo that people look at us like we have corn growing out of our ears, wondering what we're talking about when we talk about the district and Congress and record books and all these different things that go into 4-H. So what I wanted to do is do a series this year on different aspects of 4-H, from the very, very basic, what is a 4-H project, what does all that entail, to things like the national contests and international exchange groups and things like that. So we'll focus on a different area each month, and like I said, this one is basically going to be an overview of what 4-H is and how to start getting involved locally on your club level and some on the county level as well. So today we're going to talk about a couple of different things. What is a 4-H club, county, district, all that area. We have different parts of 4-H, different levels of 4-H. What is a 4-H project? So what does all that entail? And what can you count as part of that project? So can you use stuff that you learned in school as part of your 4-H project? Why does it matter? What do we use these project experiences for? What a project development committee is, which is a big county thing that we've started a couple of years ago. Community service and leadership, which are basically the other two big parts. Other than a project, they're the two big parts of 4-H that they all kind of mold together to be the main 4-H experience. So first of all, there are different levels of 4-H. There's the club, the 4-H club, the county, which is, this is a county level experience. You come to something led by the county agent, where that's open to all the 4-H clubs. The district, the state, the national, and there are actually a few experiences that are international in nature, some different exchange groups with Japan and Greece. We've had teams go to different judging contests in Scotland and Ireland, and then our FCS agent Charla, she does a every other year trip to somewhere in Europe. So a couple of years ago they went to England and Scotland. This coming summer 2015, they're going to Germany and Austria and Belgium and some of those other countries. So it's something we'd like to keep up. It's a statewide thing to where we have kids from all over the state coming, but we do have different levels of 4-H, and there's different ways that you can experience 4-H through those levels. And the first one is the 4-H club, and that is your basic level of involvement in 4-H. We have a lot of kids that are in 4-H clubs, and that is the little group, the home group where you're at. So we have 12 different clubs in the county. Y'all would be in the Shirts area, so y'all would either be probably in the Shirt Cibolo Club, SCUC Club, or the Clemens Club. Same thing with you, and y'all are here in Seguin with St. James. But we have clubs in basically every community in the county. So if you want to do 4-H in any part of the county, you're able to. Actually, the SCUC Club is one of our newer clubs. We started a couple of years ago because there was not a club out in that area, and that's the club manager. So if y'all would like to meet afterwards, that's always good. There's different requirements that you need to have a club. So if you want to start a club, there's different things that you need in that. You have to have 5 4-H age kids, which is 8 to 18, that are not related. You have to have a bank account with a budget and all that kind of good stuff. There's a form that you fill out, which is a charter form, and then the kids have to be enrolled in a 4-H project. And that's basically it. You can start a club on a specific project area or just a club that's open to everything. One of our projects is an outdoor project where we canoe and fish and swim and all that kind of thing. They decided, instead of being a countywide project group, they want to make themselves a club. That way they can fundraise and make t-shirts and all that kind of good stuff. So we have different types of clubs as well. There's the community club, which is the regular club that everyone thinks of when they think of 4-H. There's a project club, which is that club only does one specific project. So our shooting sports club in this county is a project club. They don't do any other projects within that club except for shotgun, rifle, archery, muzzle loading, pistol, and any other shooting sports that come up. The outdoor challenge club will be an outdoor specific club where we only do sport fishing and climbing and shooting and canoeing and things of that nature. There's also spin clubs, which are a smaller version of a project club. And we won't go into a lot of detail on those tonight just because y'all are in 4-H, y'all are interested in the full 4-H experience, otherwise you would be here. We use spin clubs a lot as a way to get kids involved in 4-H that have never heard of it before or that are at a school as like an after-school club or something like that. Within that club, different projects can be offered. And I'll talk about projects in a second as to what those are, but we have different projects that are offered on the club level, which means an adult leader or a 4-H'er that knows something about that project area takes over and teaches other kids clothing and textiles or food and nutrition or public speaking or whatever it might be. To be in 4-H, you have to be, like I said, 8 and in the 3rd grade all the way up to 19 years old. You cannot have passed your 19th birthday, or you cannot have been 19 by the time the new 4-H starts on September 1st. So my senior year of 4-H, I was 18 when the year started, but I turned 19 in the middle of it, so you can do that as well. But most people graduate by the time they're 19. I did not, and they leave before they turn 19. But you can be in it past that. That's especially important if you're on a team or something like that where you get to go to a national contest, because that national contest doesn't happen until the following year. We have to make it to where those kids can go compete even if they are a freshman in college. So that's the club level in a nutshell. All the clubs have different times that they meet. The SCUC club meets the second Tuesday of every month. The Horse Club, which meets here at the office, they meet the first Thursday of every month. And all of that's located on our county website in the county 4-H yearbook, which we'll talk a little bit more about next time, what all these different publications, when I say what is the 4-H Gazette and the yearbook and the newsletter and all that, we'll talk about that a little bit more next time. But the next level of 4-H is the county level, and that's just one step above the club. Like I said, that's where we're at right now, is doing something on the county level. And that includes activities for all the clubs. So for instance, on Sunday, we're having a county 4-H carnival at the Big Red Barn in Geronimo. That's a way for all the clubs to get together and do something. It's a little bit of a fundraiser. We'll have fundraisers throughout the year for kids to participate in from all the clubs. Our one-day 4-H project, which we did a few weeks ago, that was a county-wide project. And we have lots of different county service projects and leadership opportunities that come up throughout the year that are listed in the newsletter and the Gazette and things like that. But we also offer projects, 4-H projects on the county level. And I don't know if any of y'all were in 4-H growing up. When I was in 4-H, most of our 4-H projects were done at the club level. We had a project leader, which was usually my mom or my dad, and we would do different project activities. Here in this county, because we are getting so big and it's just getting harder and harder for people to volunteer their time, we try to do as many county-wide projects as possible. So either I lead them or one of our project leaders in the county, our adult leaders in the county lead those projects. Our vet science project is led by a volunteer leader. Our sport fishing project is led by a volunteer leader. They're county-wide, so anybody within the county can go to it. It's not just a club-specific thing, which makes it nice because some clubs don't have the resources to offer a particular project. Maybe they are a very small club, they just don't have a lot of volunteer help. It gets very, very difficult to do that on the club level nowadays. So we try to offer as many, I think we have about 19 countywide projects that we lead in various areas. And we add more all the time. We didn't have a sport fishing project. We didn't have a lot of these projects a couple of years ago, and kids wanted to do them. Our robotics project, nobody in this county knew what robotics were. Some kids wanted to do it. We got the resources and we started that project. And now it's got 30, 40 kids in it. So it just depends on if you have an interest in something, we can always start something as well. Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Matt, but so when you post on Facebook about an activity at the Outdoor Learning Center, that's open to any of the club kids, or it has to be somebody in the outdoor project club?
That is open to any of the club, any kid in the county.
Okay.
The only reason why we have like that club in particular is that way the teams that go on, you don't have to compete in the contest, the outdoor challenge contest to participate, but those kids that wanted to do that and go to the state contest and the county contest, they wanted to be able to raise money to make t-shirts and buy canoes and things like that. So anybody is welcome to go to those. That's with any of the projects. They're open to everybody in the county. We developed a lot of these through our project development committees, which I'll talk about in just a second. And another big part of our county level 4-H experience is the County 4-H Council. And the County 4-H Council is the group of kids, it's 3 kids from each club that they come together. We elect county-wide officers, and we usually have our meetings either here or at our new extension office when it opens. But this is where the major decisions for the county are made. This is where we decide what fundraisers we're going to do, what service projects we're going to do, if we do the carnival where we vote on major things for the county. Last year when our building was being closed due to mold and different things like that to be refurbished, our county council was very influential in finding different locations for us to actually have our meetings. So it's the county council is kind of like the club officers as president of the club and vice president. There's also a president and vice president, treasurer and secretary of the county 4-H council as well. And that leads on to the next level, which is the district level. District 4-H covers an area from Sonora to Bastrop and from Blanco down to Floresville. It's a pretty big area. It's 21 counties. And on the district level, they have a district 4-H council, and we've been lucky enough here in our county to have at least 1 or 2 kids on that council every year for the last 4 years, which is not very easy to do. But basically, they provide different activities for the county, the counties to go do, where all the counties in our district can get together and do stuff. This past weekend, we had a camp out at Garner State Park in Utopia, and we cleared an old trail that was destroyed from the flood of 2002. So my hand is right there. But we cleared an old trail that had been destroyed, had boulders everywhere. They do different district contests. So just how we have the different levels of 4-H, we also have those levels of the contests. But they also run community service projects. We have 3 or 4 community service projects that are going on this year. Leadership Lab is a activity for 4-Hers that are 13 and up. They go to the Texas 4-H Center in Brownwood, or I think this next year it'll be at T-Bar M in New Braunfels. It's a camp, 3-day camp. where we do leadership training, teamwork building activities, things like that. And if you go to Leadership Lab, then you are eligible to run for the District 10 4-H Council. You have to go to lab 1 year, and then the following year, then you are eligible to run for that one of those positions. You have to be at least 14 years old to be a district officer, and if you want to go on to that next level at state officer, then you have to be at least 16 years old by the time the new 4-H year starts, when you take over your position. And I'll talk about state council in a second. We also have a thing called the District 4-H Conference, which is in August of every year. That's where we not only recognize our top award winners from each county. It's called the 4-H Gold Star, and we'll talk more about that later in the year, because like I said, I could talk about 4-H till I'm blue in the face 24 hours a day for 3 or 4 days and still not get it all done. But we have that, and then there's a lot of different project building activities and teamwork activities. It's a one-day thing as opposed to Leadership Lab, which is a multi-day thing. Y'all have any questions so far?
So ambassadors, how old can the ambassadors be?
Ambassadors have to be, we have a program in our county called the 4-H Ambassadors. They go to different schools and different activities and talk about 4-H and promote 4-H and advertise it and go to they do probably 50 activities a year. There's 50 activities that they're offered that they do a year. And those kids, what was the question again?
The age of the ambassadors.
They have to be an intermediate. So we have 3 levels of 4-H. 8-year-olds to 10-year-olds are juniors, intermediates are 11 to 13, and then seniors are 14 to 19. They have to be an intermediate age 4-H'er in order to do it. We actually have a couple of 11-year-olds that are ambassadors this year, which is just fine. I've found that sometimes the younger kids take it a little bit more seriously because they don't want to mess up, whereas the older kids start goofing around and things like that. But it's really good to have that dynamic, because then the younger kids learn from the older kids, and the older kids learn a little bit of that self-control, not to act up around the younger kids, because they know 11 to 18, it's a big time range. And I'm in charge of the ambassador program, and we'll talk more about what those individual ambassador group activities are when we talk about that in probably March. Real quick, this is a map of District 10, so you can see all the way out here in Sutton County, Brackettville and Kenny County. We're kind of in the middle over there on the eastern end of the district. It goes up to Austin. So we have 2 of the biggest urban areas in the state within our district, which means we have a lot of different opportunities nearby that we can do. Here in a couple of months, in February, they'll do a big 4-H event at the state capitol because the Congress will be in session, so we'll be advertising more on that as it gets closer. The next level is the state level 4-H, and we're in District 10. There's 12 total districts in the state. So the state level is all of those districts put together, and we do different things like Texas 4-H Roundup, which is our big state contest. It takes place in June every year at College Station. Any contest that we do in 4-H, with the exception of the horse project, the horse show, and the shooting sports games, we do at this state contest. Shooting sports state games take place in late July at San Antonio. The horse show takes place in late July up in Abilene. If you're trying to do all 3, it gets kind of difficult. The Texas 4-H Roundup is kind of like our big event at every year. Texas 4-H Congress is an event that takes place every 2 years, so it happened this summer. And what Texas 4-H Congress is you go and participate in the mock legislative session at the state capitol. You get to be either a senator or a representative from the House of Representatives or on the press corps and learn about the different, how our government works and all that kind of stuff. We also have summer camps that are available for the little ones all the way up to the older ones. I go to a lot of those summer camps, so if you need a ride to those camps, I'm usually going to them. I can take you up there. Like I said, those are all at the 4-H Center in Brownwood, Texas. It's about 3.5 hours northwest of here, kind of in the middle of the state. But we also have the Texas 4-H Council, And just like I said, there's the county council, there's the district council that you have to go on the leadership lab to apply for. If you are elected the president, the vice president, or the state delegate on the district council, then you automatically become a member of Texas 4-H Council. And Texas 4-H Council runs Texas 4-H Roundup. There's 33 kids from around the state. They get to wear the fancy green jackets and have to dress up all nice and make all these presentations. One of our 4-Hers from the Barrow Club, Mitchell Machigimba, he is our District 10 council president. And so he is on state council this year. And it's a really prestigious position to do. Along with that, we also have a technology team which does all of the audio-visual stuff, making videos, photographs, different aspects of 4-H at Roundup and beyond. Some of the videos that they have on the state website, the tech team puts together. And we just got our first tech team member elected or chosen from Guadalupe County, Caleb Hargraves from the Barrow Club. He just got chosen to be on that, so it's another big experience that we'll have for kids here that I'll know a little bit easier how to advertise it next year since we have somebody that's actually done it. We've never had anybody done it before. We also have stuff on the national level, and those are more of like an application process. Only seniors can do these. Texas Roundup Texas Roundup summer camps, intermediates, juniors can do. But only seniors can do the national level experiences. One of them is National 4-H Conference. They pick 5 kids from around the state, and they get to go to Washington, D.C., and make the decisions that guide the 4-H program for the next 5 to 10 years. That was really cool. I got to go to that when I was in 4-H, and we talked about some of the things that 4-H needed to do, and as I'm an agent now, I actually got to see some of those things that we talked about at conference become reality many years later. But I think I went in 2004, and in 2010, 2011, some of those policies finally came and happened because of what we talked about at conference. Another one is National 4-H Congress, and that's more of a more fun event. You go to Atlanta, Georgia. You get to go see the World of Coke Museum and take different tours, and that one has over 2,000 people that attend, 2,500. From all over the United States, Japan, Canada, Puerto Rico, and some other places that have 4-H. 4-H is in over 140 countries around the world, and a lot of them will send kids to National 4-H Congress. It's a good team build or learning experience. You get to learn how different clubs, different groups from around the nation run their 4-H programs. And we do it very different in Texas compared to, say, Ohio or Indiana or Alaska, where their program is much, much different. So I've been talking a lot about what a 4-H project is. That is kind of our ground program of 4-H. What you do in 4-H is a 4-H project. And I get questions all the time, well, what exactly makes a project a 4-H project? Well, it's about 5 or 6 different experiences that are at least 20 to 30 minutes in length. And they're on basically any area you can think of. Some of our big ones in this county, we have shooting sports. Swine is a big project. Photography, we have over 40 kids participate in that. The outdoor project is a big project. Horses statewide are a big project, but they're not as big here anymore just because it's expensive to own a horse, and a lot of people live in the city where they can't own a horse. But there's approximately 2 hours of community service related to that project. So if you do a 4-H project, you're supposed to do some community service related to it, along with get some leadership in that project area, and then some kind of exhibition of your project work. So are any of y'all in FFA?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's similar to FFA in the fact that in FFA we call it a supervised agricultural experience, an SAE. I guess that's what they used to call it. So they call it. So it's kind of the same thing, but you don't. Instead of having ag teachers, you have county agents, and then there's different contests you can do, and they don't have to be agriculture related. We do have some of the same contests. We do have a parliamentary procedure contest, photography contest, We don't have things like, I think FFA has a radio contest, which I'd never heard of before. But we also have robotics contests and, like I said, outdoor education type contests, fishing tournaments and things like that. But there's all these areas when you put them together that's a 4-H project. And a lot of people ask, well, what can become part of my project? What can you include in your project area for the sake of something like a record book? A record book, which we will do a full training, that's going to be a full night on what a record book is in January. But a record book is where you write down everything that you did in 4-H for that year. And it asks you, like, how many learning experiences did you have and how many contests did you participate in. So there's different areas, things that you can include in your project. So exhibits, speeches, videos, if you make a video for your project. If you're lucky enough to be on a television show, that'd be great. None of us have ever been on a television show, but I am trying to get Texas Country Reporter to come to our outdoor challenge next year. There's different quiz bowls that we have. Things that you do on your own, internet research, reading magazines, self-study, school, that can be included. But one of the things that people decide is that looking at the internet is a national, because in the record book it asks for what level of experience, is it county, state, district, and they'll put internet research as an international learning experience because it's open to anybody. Technically it is open to anybody, but because you're doing it at home, then it's not. It's a local, like a club level experience. But there's national 4-H curriculum that anybody can buy. I have a lot of it here at the office, but if you go onto the National 4-H Mall website, you'll find curriculum on any project, well, the big projects that they offer in 4-H, there's 30 some odd plus. But project meetings, which would be your individual project meetings, going to just do that project work, tours, field trips, workshops, clinics, contests. One of my favorite parts is a method demonstration, or what they used to call a method demonstration. We call it an educational presentation now, and that's kind of it's part of our public speaking project, but you talk about what you know. You talk about what your favorite area is. So my favorite area growing up was meteorology. And that's not a regular 4-H project. At the time I wanted to grow up and be a storm chaser and a weatherman. As you can see, that did not happen. But I did a meteorology project, so my educational presentation that I did every year was about severe weather. We have kids that do a swine project, and so the thing they do every year is about swine. And it's because you're more comfortable talking about what you know about than something that you have no idea. You just pick up that topic and start talking about it. Some people are able to do it. It just takes some time to learn that and get used to it. But there's lots of different things that you can do as part of your 4-H project. There's different people that lead projects. So number one, the people that we have that lead most of our projects in this county are adult project leaders. Basically, they put together the project from scratch. They might get the curriculum from me or get some resources from me, but they'll put what they do at those project meetings together on their own and lead that project and give the kids that project experience. One of the things that I do a lot of in this county is I try to lead as many projects as possible. So I lead the outdoor project and our grass and range ID project and a couple of others, our parliamentary procedure project. I run those while we have different leaders that do entomology, vet science, photography, and actually you can also be a project leader if you are a 4-H'er as well. They call them teen leaders, 13 to 18. They do the same thing that a project leader does. Of course, in this county, we let some of our older 4-H'ers become actual project leaders. And one of our project leaders, that is our photography project leader for the county, she planned a trip. We're going to start doing a photography trip to the coast every year. And it won a big national award because it was the best student-led project in the nation. So we get award money to do that. It'll be this next spring, so look for information on that. Photography is a big project, but we go down to the beach for a few days and take pictures and take tours and all that kind of stuff. Also, if you're younger, it says if you're 10 to 12 years old, but I've let kids as young as 8 or 9 help with projects, you're a junior leader. And a junior leader helps the project leader with whatever they're doing. There's nothing worse than a kid wanting to help to do something and they're not allowed to because they're too young or whatever it might be. But I've had kids as young as 5 help me with different projects. So, I mean, if they're willing to do it and you give them proper guidance, anybody can be project leader or team leader or junior leader or whatever you want to call it. One of the things, the way we structure our projects here are called project development committees. And it's a way to this is how we started doing all these countywide projects real big a couple of years ago. They let you as the 4-H'ers have some kind of ownership over your project. Number one, this is good because it gives you leadership in that project area, which was, when we talked about projects earlier, that was a big part of it was leadership. People could not get leadership in, say, a livestock project. How do you do that? You might help with the once a year showmanship clinic that we put on. So how do you get leadership in those project areas? These committees were created to where the kids plan the projects, of course with adult leader assistance for different resources and things like that. The kids help decide what community service projects we do, who's going to be the officer. Did it just switch on its own? Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. We're going to move on to this page anyway. Project development committees meet as necessary. A lot of them meet during the summertime. We just didn't have time this summer, so we are still having some project committees that are planning to meet in the next couple of months. Photography, parliamentary procedure, to get their plan together for the rest of the year. Just because the fall time is really absorbed with football and sports and band and things like that. It's hard to do a lot of monthly project meetings in the fall. But once we get to the spring and stock show season and all that, we do a whole lot more of these countywide project meetings. Like I said, they can meet monthly or several times per year. They're run by the youth. They're not separate 4-H clubs, so you can be in your 4-H club and be in a project committee. And there's different youth officers. So maybe if you didn't get elected to an office in your home club, you can be an officer in one of these committees. And that looks really good in your record book to say that you were president of a countywide committee. The district level used to run 4-H like this, and they could not get the participation, they could not get the help to make it work. But we've had a really, really good success with at least 10 of these committees over the last couple of years that have led to a lot of good trainings that we would not have had if it wasn't for the kids' actual input in the project. Like I said, adults serve on these committees, help with setting dates, but they don't run the meetings, the kids do. A lot of times the kids will ask the parents, the adults in the room for help, and that's perfectly fine. But my main point is to get y'all, the 4-H'ers, to actually plan stuff because that's really what's going to help y'all when it comes to applying for scholarships. And